Hi, my name's Said. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. And today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about managing stress and anxiety and Chinese medicine's tips and approaches for how to deal with that part of our health. So, along with the food we eat, as well as the environment we're in, and the sleep quality we're getting, how we manage our emotions, how we manage stress, how we manage anxiety, has a huge impact on our health and our well-being. Chinese medicine is really the first medical practice that acknowledged the effect of our emotional state on our health, and a big part of Chinese medicine is how to maximize a sense of calm, a sense of relaxation, and how integral that is to maintaining a healthy body and a healthy mind. So, first thing we need to acknowledge is that stress and anxiety is going to have a detrimental effect on a wide variety of other parts of health, such as sleep, digestion. By dealing with this, we can deal with many other issues as well. However, stress is really one of the hardest things to deal with, and our lifestyles these days tends to kind of magnify stress, and it can be really hard to escape it. So we really are going to need to develop habits that we do throughout our day in order to, over time, overcome stress and anxiety. So one of the first things we need to think about is, as I said, there is this connection between stress, anxiety, and then poor digestion and poor sleep. But it goes both ways. So if we're not giving our body the amount of sleep it needs, if we're not eating the best foods or approaching diet in the best way, then over time that's going to magnify and increase our stress, our anxiety, and going to make it harder for us to deal with our emotions and to deal with others. So if the first thing we want to really think about is, are we giving our body what it needs? And is this stress and anxiety maybe a signal that our body is giving to us to say you need to make some changes in your life in order to maximize your health? So if that's the case, you may want to think about that. Remember that ultimately the most important thing in our life is our health. And so if you are sacrificing your sleep or sacrificing diet for a job or for various other things, you really need to think about if that's what you really want to be doing. Or if maybe there are ways that you can modify something in that situation so that you are getting those things that your body really needs. So that's definitely a huge aspect of this. We want to really give our body a solid foundation, because the mind and the body are connected. So if our body's not feeling well, if our body's not getting what it needs, that's going to have an effect on the mind, and you're going to start feeling stress, you're going to start feeling anxiety. And unless you really get to the root there, it's not going to improve. However, there are things we can do to help to definitely relieve that stress, because stress is just natural. As much as we try, we can't completely avoid it. So even if we're doing very well, it's going to happen, and we want to develop some skills in order to deal with that. So one of the things we can do is use herbs as a way to help to relieve stress. Now that can be helpful as a tool that's going to be beneficial to us, as opposed to sometimes we may use other tools that for a moment might take the stress away, but that ultimately are going to create more stress in our life. So instead of turning to maybe overeating or a cigarette or alcohol to relieve our stress or anxiety, we can over time develop a habit of turning towards herbal tea, for example, as something we go to help relieve our stress and anxiety. So one tea that's really good for stress, for helping us feel relaxed and calm, is just simple mint tea. Now, it's not by itself going to fix all of our problems, obviously, but mint tea can be a really good thing to turn to when you are feeling stressed. Just sitting down and having that nice cup of mint tea can really make you feel a little bit more calm, a little bit more relaxed. It can sometimes create a nice light sweat, which makes you feel a little bit cooler, helps you cool you down. So if you're feeling some anger or something, that may also be a good approach. Have a little bit of mint tea. The best way I think to prepare mint tea is to really just take fresh mint leaf, put it in a cup, and pour hot water on it. Mint tea, mint really doesn't need to be cooked for a long period of time. It's actually better to be steeped rather than boiled. So you really just want to steep the mint in some hot water, maybe for 5 minutes. Just leave it with the hot water soaking there. And then go ahead and drink it. And you may find over time that this habit becomes something that's a nice trick for your body to relax, calm down, and maybe keeps you from turning to other things that may not be healthy for you to help relieve that stress. In Chinese medicine, there's a formula that's used a lot for stress, anxiety, which is called 逍遥散. And one of the ingredients is mint. So while 逍遥散isn't perfect for everybody, it is a pretty successful herbal formula. And there's a wide variety of herbs in there besides mint. But mint is one of them. And so while 逍遥散might not be right for everyone and really depends from situation to situation, mint is pretty much a food, so anybody can have mint tea. If you do have any concerns about that, you can always talk to your doctor about having mint tea, but for the vast majority of people, it's a very safe and relatively effective tool against stress and anxiety. Another thing you may want to consider using as a tool to help fight against stress, and if you get anxiety or mild panic attacks even, is what's called abdominal breathing. So a lot of times we'll breathe from the chest, so we expand our rib cage in order to take a breath in, and by expanding the rib cage, that opens the area around the lungs so that the lungs expand and fill with air. And that's one way to breathe. But another better way to breathe is actually to breathe using the abdominal muscles. So the way you do that is you push your stomach out and push your lower back out. So push those muscles out, expanding that area when you want to take a breath in. And that will expand the lungs going down. By pulling the diaphragm down, by expanding that area of the body, the abdomen, you pull the diaphragm down, which brings the lungs down, and the lungs then fill into the bottom of the lungs, which is often the area that's getting the least amount of circulation, of airflow. So along with just being very good for the lungs, diaphragm breathing or abdominal breathing is also very relaxing. What it does is it triggers what's called the parasympathetic aspect of our nervous system. And that's the part of our body which is activated when we feel at rest, when we feel safe, when we're going to bed, for example. That will kick in the parasympathetic nervous system. So whenever we feel safe and comfortable, that's the part of the nervous system that is activated. And that is the way we breathe under those sort of situations. So if we're not feeling that way, if we feel stressed, we feel anxious, we feel uncomfortable, we can, in a way, trick the body into relaxing by using this abdominal breathing. So if you want, you can count your breaths, maybe up to 9, or just do the abdominal breathing until you start to feel a little bit more relaxed, a little more calm. And so aside from being good for the lungs, and generally speaking the way we want to try to breathe most of the time, it also can help you to relieve some stress and anxiety. And aside from that, it's also going to help you sleep a little bit better. And so if you are having trouble with sleeping, you may want to do that exercise before you go to bed. Just do some abdominal breathing for a good 10, 15 minutes. Just focusing on expanding the abdomen, expanding the stomach, expanding the lower back to pull the diaphragm down and then breathe deep into the lower parts of the lungs. It's going to really help to descend your energy and help you relax. So another approach for dealing with stress and anxiety is going for a walk. Walking is a great way to relax the mind and take it at a nice leisurely pace. You don't want to be, almost jogging. You really want to take your time with the walk and just relax and enjoy the nature around you if you can. And that's really going to be a very helpful addition to the day to help you relax during your workday. As well, if you can, at some point, you really want to try to walk in the grass or in the sand barefoot. Also can be really helpful for dealing with stress and anxiety. So if you have some time during your week, you really want to try to do that, either going to a park or going to nature or going to the beach. Whatever you have access to, and make sure you take your shoes, socks off, and really touch the earth. It can be a very powerful thing to help deal with stress and anxiety. Connecting with nature is going to have a huge impact on your emotional and mental state. Our body, and our mind is not used to being so separated from nature. So taking those intentional steps towards really reconnecting with nature can definitely help you feel more relaxed and more calm. And generally speaking, just spending some time in nature is going to be a good idea if you are dealing with some stress and anxiety. So take that time just to relax, take it easy, try to focus on your surroundings. Separating from the phone, the computer, the TV is really going to be helpful for you. So those are some things we can add into our daily life to help deal with stress and anxiety. And please let me know if you have any questions or you found anything that's really been helpful to you. I'm definitely interested in hearing about it.